Hello again, everyone. I am Reverend Ned with the Sons of Liberty, a veteran-founded organization, but all are welcome. And I'm also representing the 5051 for the state of Arizona. Today, we're going to discuss de-escalation, escalation, citizens arrest, a change that's coming to our security policies, a sad truth that I'm not happy to share, and a really big call to action. I need this from everybody. Let's get started. De-escalation. This is probably going to be a little counterintuitive because we are effectively security for these protesters, and a lot of protesters tend to be of the weaker sort, which is fine. We need them there. We need those bodies, and we need big burly service members like you and I that can go out and be a wall between them and people that wish to do us harm in any capacity. And I want to say up front, we are not at odds with law enforcement whatsoever. They are our allies in this. They are our point of contact. If you do not know the officers' names and you are in a security position on the day of a protest, you are wrong. Fix it. You need to have contact with them days in advance. Moving on. For de-escalation, what I'm really wanting is active listening. I don't know if you're familiar with this theory, the skill set, but it's mostly listening. You want to hear what they have to say. You want them to feel heard. You want them to feel valued, because there's going to be people there that might just have a difference of opinion from us, and a conversation is enough to keep it from escalating. And there's going to be people that isn't necessarily the case, but we're focusing on those that we can actually do something about through active listening. Now, the big thing we're looking at with that is we're going to repeat the last phrase that they said. I don't like you because you're a communist. Okay, so it sounds to me like you think I'm a communist and you have issue with that. Well, I can tell you I'm not a communist, but I would happily talk to you about it. The next big thing we got to talk about is body language. None of this, no mean mugging, no being grumpy. It's just not what we want. We want friendly salesman faces. I know it's counterintuitive, but it's what we need. That's what people are going to find more approachable, more agreeable, and it's going to keep their focus. Be mindful of your tone. If you smile, even just with your eyes while you're speaking, it changes the inflection of your voice. It makes you more likable. This is how people sell cars. We have to use those principles against our quote-unquote adversaries in this. Hopefully they'll become allies, and they've just been misguided by our grifter in chief. Fuck that guy. Right. Moving on. Oh. The next thing for de-escalation still, if you've actively listened to them, if you've repeated back, if you've been mindful of your body language, this is non-threatening. And it's not just a matter of non-threatening to the threat directly in front of you. It is non-threatening to everyone around you that is holding a camera. Everybody at the protest needs to have a camera. Because if you've got 25 of these pointed at you, you're a lot less likely to show your ass. The last step in de-escalation that we're going to do, you're like, all right, buddy, sorry, but do your worst. And at that point, we transition into escalation. Now, this is the point when it is crucially important to contact police. You'll judge during the de-escalation phase whether or not you want to make contact with police. You'll be in communication with comms at the protest. But now, if we're reaching escalation, it's no longer optional. There's no more judgment calls. You are contacting the police as soon as you are aware we are reaching escalation. Your most important job during escalation is to keep them talking, to keep them focused. Belittle them. Get their attention. It's fine. You're going to be an asshole. This is when it's appropriate to be rude. You need them to focus on you. Quick moves, but still look to everyone around you like you are not escalating the situation. But little jerks keeps people's attention. When it has to come to escalation, and I cannot emphasize this enough, it is an absolute last resort. It is much better to keep them distracted and let the police come and solve this problem. If you can do that, do it. But if you can't, if somebody's life is in imminent danger, if they are threatening somebody or you move on to having two of your allies from the peacekeepers, from security, from your team, apprehend them from behind. They're going to come up from behind while you're distracting them, and they're going to get control of both arms. At this point, we will be making a citizen's arrest. Now, I'm not speaking for the entire country. I'm only familiar with Arizona laws. And what the Arizona law states is it is legal. Yeah, it's legal to detain and to perform a citizen's arrest. And here's the important thing. It doesn't say this in the law, but this is our guidance, and this is what I expect you to follow. It needs to be recorded. Everything that happened leading up to it and the entirety of the arrest needs to be recorded. What you need in order to perform a citizen's arrest is you need to witness them having committed a felony, be in the act of committing a felony, or making a breach of the peace, as in inciting a riot, as in performing as an agent provocateur, specifically there to make us look bad. I really sincerely hope this doesn't happen to you. I hope it never gets to this point, but this is our official protocol. De-escalation, all the way down to putting a camera in their face. Then escalation, where it's all about distracting and keeping them focused. Tell them you fucked their mom. I don't care. Then your buddies are going to come in as a last resort. We really want the police doing that to make a citizen's arrest. Now, we've moved on from escalation. Now we're going to go on to a change that we've made in the Sons of Liberty, and hopefully it'll be a nationwide change. I'm kind of taking the initiative on this. I like it personally, and I've had lots of conversations with lots of folks. Peacekeepers sounds a lot like Oath Keepers. And from what I understand, there's some other issues with peacekeepers that sounds, let's just say racially insensitive, ethnically insensitive, that we're trying to move away from that. I much prefer the term sheepdogs. It conveys a very specific message. There are those out there that mean to do us harm, and there are those that need to be protected. And the only thing between them is a sheepdog. And that's you and I, my friend. We are the sheepdogs of the Sons of Liberty. Now it's on to a part I've really been regretting. A very dear friend of mine, somebody I've been friends with for at least 12 years. I've started multiple businesses with him. I've had shared bank accounts with him. He has had access to my main bank account, something my wife doesn't have. And he's lost. He's gone. I have been fighting this whole time with all of my buddies that tend to be more left-leaning than me and saying, hey, I get it. They're actively oppressing you, but I don't think they're doing it on purpose. I don't think there's anything malicious about it. I think they're just being misled. That's no longer the case. And I hate to be so blunt about it, but over the course of about 40 minutes of texting back and forth, he told me that we should be distancing ourselves from Canada, that it is our obligation to take over Canada and Mexico, and that our nearest allies are Russia and China. And I'm going to be honest with you. This conversation, this is a guy, his daughter calls me uncle. My kids call him uncle. We are thick as two guys can be. And I seriously thought I was reading an Onion article. That is how off the tracks this conversation went. And I'm sincerely hoping there's still a percentage of people out there that are capable of coming to the light and seeing reason that all human beings should be treated decently and with respect. Yeah. Fucking respect. How hard is that? Sorry. I got a little heated there. It blows my mind that This guy that is a member of my family, essentially, was not only comfortable with committing genocide against Muslims, but he was comfortable with the fact that I don't know what's going to happen once they're all dead. I don't know who they're going to move on to next. That's what he said. He's like, oh, that's the risk you take. I'm willing to sacrifice that. It's mind-blowing to me. He's a God-fearing man. God-fearing. Anyhow, the sad truth is there are those in our population that there is just no help for at this time. They're going to claim 10 years from now, and this is all said and done, that they were just following orders. Which brings me to my next point. The only way we can prevent the argument of I was just following orders is to maintain accountability. Our new symbol as protesters needs to be a camera. Bring a camera, a camcorder. I don't give a shit if it's broken, fake, disposable, ancient, homemade. You got a flask that looks like a camera? Fucking bring it. Put a lanyard on a disposable camera. When you come to these protests, if you've got 4 or 5 of these hanging out in your closet that don't have any film in it, I don't care. I want people to see that every single protester at that event has a camera. That needs to be our new norm. There's a lot of talk. I don't mean to sound like a conspiracy theorist or nut, but there's a substantial portion of the population that's more intelligent than me that's telling me we're looking at martial law come April 20th. I'm not a big fan of that. I really, sincerely hope from the bottom of my heart that is them being paranoid, but it scares the shit out of me. And this is our best defense against it. Because phone cameras are cool, everybody's got one, but me sitting here doing this isn't as intimidating as this. It's hard to refute. And I promise you, people are going to behave differently if they know damn well they're being filmed from 20 different angles, and there's no way they're going to be able to get all the SIM cards. Even if you're standing there with a flask that just looks like a camera holding it up, you're doing way more for the cause than I am as a sheepdog, I assure you. Well, Fam of Liberty, friends, compatriots, know that I love you, I care about you. I hope that you join us on our Discords at Sons of Liberty and 5051. I'll have the link down in the description. I'm not doing this for internet clout. I don't care how famous or popular I become. That's not what this is about. I want to spread these messages so that we can be safe and protected at these protests and practice our First Amendment rights. That being said, if somebody's going to get arrested at these rallies and protests, it needs to be somebody with some clout. It needs to be somebody who served in the military that everybody can get behind, preferably of lighter complexion, because we tend to not be mistaken for immigrants and get shipped off to, El Salvador? Anyhow, what we need from you guys is footage of us being arrested and to immediately reach out to a lawyer. Also, if you're coming to these events and you're operating in a security capacity, I expect your leadership through whatever organization is sending you to have a lawyer's phone number that you Sharpie on your arm. Because chances are, should you get arrested, everything you own will be taken away. You'll be wearing flip-flops and an orange jumpsuit and nothing. You will be able to make a call, but if you don't know the number, because they're all saved in your phone that's been confiscated, you're SOL. I love you guys.